Hello BookTube, and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. These are the books that I've been reading this week. So, I know I've been saying this a lot recently, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to really try and keep it short this week because this is the second video I'm filming tonight. I've finished off 1st Chronicles from the Jerusalem Bible, and I'm going to make a point of filming my review of that tonight. That's going to be the next video I film after I finish this one. So because of that, I'm going to try and film this one. I'm going to try not to talk too long on this one and just kind of go through this real quickly. Although, I do have a lot of books I picked up this week that I need to talk about. So there is a bit of a book haul to get through. But yeah, in terms of the reading, I'll go through this one first. I've finished off 1st Chronicles, and I'm going to review that shortly. And then in reading the Old Testament, I have read from page 184 to 234. So I'm up to the commentary now on the King David's reign, which is really fascinating. A lot of interesting stuff in here. On classical tragedy, Greek and Roman, I am on the last author here, Seneca. So Seneca's Oedipus I read this week and finished and filmed a review earlier this week. And I'm now on the last story, which is Seneca's Medea. And I've actually finished up the play. But there's a couple critical essays in the back. Each play is accompanied by 1 or 2 critical essays. So I'm not going to film my review of this until I've read the critical essays that accompany it. This is only a few pages. I've only got 6 more pages to go. Yeah, look for a review of Medea by Seneca coming very soon. And then Astro Boy. I've read from pages 470 to 632. So I am making progress on this. Yeah, only a little bit more on this one to go as well, huh? So maybe I'll be filming a review of Astro Boy this week. As always, we'll see how time goes. So that's the books I'm currently reading. But a whole bunch of books I've got here to report as a book haul, although these come from various sources. So I'll take this one first. This is A Place of Greater Safety by Hilary Mantel. I actually picked this up the previous week and then just completely forgot to mention it on my weekly reading vlog, so I'll mention it here. So this is a book I've actually been wanting to get my hands on for some time. It first came to my attention when listening to Mike Duncan's podcast, Revolutions. When Mike Duncan was talking about the French Revolution, he mentioned that a number of his listeners had recommended this book to him as a very good historical fiction on the French Revolution. It's historical fiction, but it follows Robespierre, Danton, and how do you pronounce it? Camus. I believe is how that third one is pronounced. Which, in spite of the fact that I don't know how to pronounce his name, is actually somebody I recognize and somebody I've been interested in. Oh yeah, here it is. Camilla. Anyways. So Mike Duncan mentioned it as a number of his listeners had recommended to him. I really like historical fiction. I was interested in those 3 characters in particular. So I thought, oh, okay, this is worth checking out. And I didn't even realize at the time that this Hilary Mantel was the same Hilary Mantel who did the Wolf Hall trilogy. Partly because I hadn't read Wolf Hall at that point yet, so the name didn't stick in my memory. But this past year, I've read the Wolf Hall trilogy, so now I recognize the name Hilary Mantel. This is one of her earlier works. Now, if you've read my reviews of the Wolf Hall trilogy, I gave them a mixed review. I didn't question that it was great writing, but I questioned whether it was for me. But I'm more than willing to give Hilary Mantel another try. Partly because this book seems to have gotten so many recommendations that, maybe the writing style is different. It is one of her earlier books. But even if it's not, I'm interested enough in the subject material. I mean, I'm really interested in the French Revolution and these three characters in particular, that I'd be willing to wade through some difficult writing style just to get at the story. So, I don't know when I'm going to start this, but I hope it's going to be sometime soon, because this is a book I'm definitely interested in. Okay, then I picked this book up from the library. So this is 3 Greek plays, which is together in what's called an Oresteia, as opposed to the Oresteia. So I have made it to this point in my life without reading the classic Greek tragedies. But now that I've started reading it, I thought I may as well continue. Now, my library doesn't have a lot. Once this one is done, then I think I will have exhausted all the Greek tragedies, all the Greek drama, period, in my library. But my library did have this. So I thought I'll just grab this now, and as soon as I finish this one, I'll just roll right into this one. I considered kind of taking a break and getting some other stuff on my reading list done, but it's dangerous for me to take a break. I know myself well enough that if I take a break, it's going to be forever until I work my way back around to it again. So I'm going to keep going where the iron is hot, and as soon as I finish this, I'll go into this one and read these 3 more Greek tragedies, and then I'll have exhausted my library in terms of Greek tragedies. So then I'll have to give this project a rest. All right. Then William over at William's Library encouraged me to take part in Garbogist this year, which I've not taken part in previous years, although I have watched it with interest from the sidelines. I like reading garbage books as much as anybody. Well, with the caveat that I'm a slow reader, so sometimes I find it difficult to justify the time. But I definitely see the appeal of it. So I went back to Book Street this week to try and find a book to read for Garbogist. And, as always, the selection in Vietnam is limited. But this seemed like it was a fairly... I don't know. How garbagey does something have to be for Garbogist? Marion Zimmer Bradley, I think, is a respected sci-fi science fiction writer. So it could be more garbagey, but this cover definitely looks like something pulpy for Garbogist, huh? Oh, I should mention, I forgot to mention this, talking about this. It's really hard to find specific books in Vietnam. But if you look at the used bookstores on Book Street, you can find all sorts of random stuff. Which is why I didn't think I would ever find this book in Vietnam. But then when I did find it on Book Street, I snatched it up. And then this is also from Book Street, looking for a Garbogist book, which I'll hold on to until August starts. And then the last 3 come from a coworker who says he was gifted a bunch of books, and he wasn't planning on reading all of them, so he knows I'm always looking for good books, and he passed them on to me. Now, the time he gave them to me, I was thinking, I've already got my own reading list I'm working through, like all these books on my shelf that I'm not reading that I need to get around to. But actually, once I thought about it a little bit, I was glad to get all 3 of these books. So Bill Bryson, I haven't read Bill Bryson, but I've read a number of his other books. Sorry, what did I say? I haven't read this book by Bill Bryson, but I've read a number of his other books, and I've heard about this book. This is the book, I think, where he first introduces Katz, who is his hiking companion in Into the Woods. So always glad to get another Bill Bryson book. This book I never even heard of, but it looks like kind of a surreal book. Apparently, a little bit of research reveals that it's kind of like a horror/satire book. So looks weird enough to be interesting. And this book, Ian M. Banks is an author I vaguely recognize, but I haven't read anything by him. This is a space opera book, which I don't know if something like this could come for Garbogast as well. I mean, given my slow reading pace, I probably shouldn't be lining up too many books for Garbogast. Maybe one will be all I get through, but possibly this could count. I don't know. So yeah, that's the book haul for this week, and those are the books I've read this week. And I'm going to finish things here because I'm going to go film my review of First Chronicles. And that'll be the next video uploaded. So I'll see you soon, BookTube.